Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk, the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Hey, Austin, like I said, had a great camp, and but the positive is two positives. He'll be back, number one, and number two, he did get a lot of good work, so he's prepared to go do what he needs to do and get back.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome in to Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network here on a Tuesday night. Kornbluth with you on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour tonight at Benedict College in downtown Columbia. The Tigers coming off dreadful season. That might be too kind. It was ugly for Benedict last year under Coach Mike White. A winless season, almost a pointless season. They did score some points, not many. They hope to rebound in Division II IAC and be a competitive team this year, win some ball games and return some hope to the program here in downtown Columbia. Looking forward to having Coach White with us, as well as a couple of his players, a little bit after 7 o'clock. Back at our studios, not too far from me in downtown Columbia, over on Main Street, it's Kevin McCrary, the Professor, Tom Hayes. We also have back in the studios Jared Rogers-Martin, also known as Jar March, and Carson Mason, also known as Carson Ova. All right, you heard Dabo Swinney there at the outset. The Tigers had a practice today, K-Mac, and a little bit of concern there about one of their standout defensive players.
Yeah, losing Austin Bryant for an extended amount of time now as he had a screw inserted into his foot, a broken foot, the official prognosis. So they will not have him for that game against Auburn. And that's tough because that's and some new guys. They were thin at that position. So now they're going to have to go forward for at least the next 3 to 5 weeks. And I think Sweeney said later in that interview that we'll hear later here in this hour that they hope to have him back for Georgia. You're going to have to go forward for the foreseeable future without him. I don't know. I mean, they have Auburn in the opener, so that's the big loss. Then it's Troy and South Carolina State. Then it's Georgia Tech. So Auburn's a big game that he'll miss. The good news for Clemson is, it's a foot injury, and you're talking about 3 to 5 weeks instead of a knee injury, which could be your whole season. The other part of it, Auburn is not this prolific passing team, as we all know. They like to run the ball a lot. So a pass rush isn't as vital against a team like Auburn. Now, it's not ideal to lose Bryant. I'm not trying to say it's no big deal, but in terms of a pass rusher, which is what his specialty is, they're not going to miss that much against an Auburn team that really doesn't stand in the pocket and throw the ball a lot.
Well, you still have to have an end to kind of set the edge, right? Because you want those quick running backs for Auburn or the quarterback to have to turn it back up inside. I'm not so certain, Corn, that if this next game is Georgia Tech, I don't hold him out of that game for the chop blocking that they're doing that option.
Yeah.
And, a guy, as I was saying, soaking wet is 145, 150 pounds, which I am, probably wouldn't hurt me too much. But if you're carrying 2 bills and some extra change on you, those 200 and something pounds can weigh on a foot injury. But as we say, it's now with all this depth, and it's who next, Mr. Register gets to step into his place, Chris Register. So let's see what he's going.
And they're going to move Christian Wilkins from the inside back to the outside where he saw some action. They have options. That's one thing. Clemson, Corn, they have that motto, we 2 deep, and I think they're more like we 3-4 deep now.
Yeah. It'll test them a little bit, but like you said, they do have players waiting in the wings. The thing about Bryant was that he played so well in relief of Shaq Lawson last year in the playoffs and had become a mainstay in the spring and here in preseason camp at that defensive end position. If Clemson now has an area of vulnerability in terms of experience, it is that defensive end spot with Bryant going out. Now on one side, you've got Cleveland Farrell, who's never started a game, and his last serious action was back in high school before he had a torn ACL. And then on the other side, you're going to have somebody who not only, unless it's Wilkins, you're going to have somebody who not only hasn't started a game, you're going to have somebody who's hardly played. So, Auburn, you might see them with things to try to attack the edges if they can against Clemson and take that to their advantage. But like you said, Auburn, then they've got a couple of games that won't be a major concern. Then they go to Georgia Tech, which will be a concern, and they would certainly like to have him back by then. I know what you're saying, Pro. Be careful about the chop blocks and all that, but I think if he's ready to go, they're not going to worry about that. They're going to get him suited up and ready to go because he can help defend that triple option, especially on the edge.
Yeah, I think they're going to be okay. I mean, there's no question that Auburn's going to attack the ends and the edges. That's what they do. That's their offense. So, whether it's Austin Bryant or whoever, they're going to have to do that. But Clemson, Wilkins will be capable of going out there. I mean, he's played very well in his young career at Clemson, and I can see him filling in admirably there. They're going to be a little inexperienced, but Auburn's has its share of issues that they're dealing with on the offensive side of the ball. So you never want to hear a story like this. If you're Clemson, it's not good news by any stretch, and losing him for at least a month is not ideal, but I do think they can weather it. And it's also good, I think, to find out now when you still have a few weeks to adjust rather than getting this news the Monday of game week. You're getting it now where you can try some different guys out. You can move some different people around and kind of game plan and scheme with your new guys in place rather than scrambling at the last minute.
Well, the thing is, too, and you're right, the time between now and the starter gives them a chance to figure it out. I have no doubt that Christian Wilkins can do the job at defensive end if that's the direction they decide to go. And probably at the end of the day, that would be my guess where they go because he's experienced, he's talented, he's fast enough to play that position. You would think with his speed and quickness coming off the edge, he would be a very good pass rusher. So not taking anything away from Chris Register or anybody else they might put out there, but Christian Wilkins is a proven commodity. And he's played some at defensive end here in preparation for this season. So that is my guess as to what will happen there down the road. We'll have to wait and see. All right, so not good news there. We'll have more from Dabo coming up. Plus, we'll hear from the Gamecocks. First of all, the Gamecocks got some good news today. Very fine pickup on paper. All commitments are on paper, or at least, verbally.
In the air.
Eventually on paper. But Hamza Nasir Ildeen, get ready to say that name and try and spell that name. H-A-M-S-A-H, that's the first name, N-A-S-I-R-I-L-D-E-E-N, Nasir Ildeen. Give it 3 syllables, Nasir. Now give it 4 syllables, Nasir Ildeen. Safety from Concord, North Carolina. He's, by all accounts, a very fine prospect. The internet gurus who rate these guys give him high marks as a safety nationally. And he committed to South Carolina today after a visit. We talked to him last night, and it certainly sounded as if he was getting close on a decision, South Carolina, Florida, and Florida State. He did not tell us he was visiting today. He did make an unofficial visit to USC today, and he made his commitment to Will Muschamp in Muschamp's office. Good pickup for South Carolina. Came back, the kind of guy, at least in terms of potential, that you have to get in building a program. This appears to be a top flight prospect for Muschamp.
Yeah, and you look at who they were going up against: Florida State. I think Alabama was in there as well. Those are big time offers from big time programs, and that is how you turn things around. You have to get those kind of guys and develop them. And this is what Will Muschamp was hired to do. I mean, this is his reputation. T-Robs, he put a staff together that's very good at recruiting, although we should say Bobby Bentley is the recruiter of record for him, and he's been very active. This was good news for South Carolina, no question about it.
Proximity did not hurt at all.
Well, the Gamecocks now have 5 commitments from the state of North Carolina, and they're picking some of the Tar Heels' best. Be right back. our Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. We are at Benedict College. We're over at Johnson Stadium. The Tigers have worked out this afternoon. Right now, they've got some walk-ons going through some drills down on the artificial surface in this. I imagine on that artificial surface, it's got to be plus 100, 95 walking up to the building. Out there on the surface, it's got to be much hotter. Those poor kids going through it for the love of football, hoping to make this Benedict team, and it's Benedict team hoping to win a game this year and turn things in a positive direction. We'll have the Tigers in here with us in hour number 2. Coming up, Dabo Sweeney will talk more about the Tigers practice. You'll hear him talk about the injury to Austin Bryant. Now, last night, K-Mac was out at USC practice, and Gamecocks threw it around and ran around a little bit and did some head knocking to K-Mac. What was your impression? What did you take from it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first really full practice that's been open to everybody and some fans. Boy, I'll tell you what, there were a few fans out there that were staying to watch them do conditioning at the end. Those are some very dedicated people sticking around at 9:15 on a school night to watch guys run up and down the field. But, everybody wants to talk about the quarterbacks and how they're looking, and I thought all three of them, really, I feel like I'm parroting Will Muschamp, but all three of them did some good things. All three of them did some not so good things. McElwain had a really nice touchdown pass. I mean, the ball does look different when it comes out of his hand. That there's a little more zip on it, a little more pop in his passes. He definitely has the mobility that you can see. We talked about that last night. He did have an interception. King jumped in front of a pass and made a nice pick on a play in the final session on 11-on-11. That was ones versus ones. So those guys all look good. The running back situation, Turner seems to be getting a majority of the carries there. He sure does look small. He looks really, really small out there. I know he's listed at 5'10". I'm taking the under on that. There wasn't a lot of hitting. I mean, hard hitting. No tackling to the ground. But I do think they're kind of throttling back a little bit now. I think over the weekend, I know they're going to hit another big scrimmage, and they'll probably thud a little bit there. But yesterday, they did seem to be blowing the whistle early before there was any major contact and setting the ball up. Another thing, Corn, and I know you saw this in the small increments when you've been out there, but a very efficient practice style for Will Muschamp. Something is always going on. There's no lag time. There's no standing around. They might be doing Pascal and have some guys over there doing drills, and they go everybody 11-on-11. Then they quickly move over to working on special teams and punts and field goals. They blared some music. I may have lost a portion of my hearing at one point out there. It was very loud when they played music for about 10 minutes. But it was an intriguing practice to watch Will Muschamp practice and contrast that to the Steve Spurrier practices that we watched for the past decade. And this isn't taking pot shots at Spurrier. Two different coaches, two different styles. Spurrier's obviously has worked and did work very well for him, but it's a night and day difference between a Will Muschamp camp and a Steve Spurrier camp.
It's more like an NFL practice?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say that, and I think more like just a modern day football practice. I mean, that's the way it's going. It's a lot more laid back in his practices. They'd go out there and they do their Pascal. They would do their one-on-ones and their 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s and do that for about 2 hours and 15 minutes and call it a day. Maybe some other drills in there. I'm not saying they obviously worked on special teams and other things, but you can see the difference, and fans out there certainly see the difference. And talking to players after, they're saying, yeah, I mean, Hayden Hurst said, look, I can barely walk some days when I get back to the room. And Perry Orth, who doesn't get hit, says he feels bad for his roommate, Hayden Hurst, because he's not sure how he's going to go out there the next day.
Well, he can't walk because he's the grandfather of the group.
Yeah.
He's the oldest guy out.
It was really interesting, Corn. Somebody tried to bring up the Perry Orth story again to him last night and said, hey, well, last year at this time, you were the 6th-string quarterback, and now you're battling for the job. And he very, as politely as he could, said, I'm not trying to be rude, but that story's old. I don't want to talk about that anymore. It's
no more about being the guy in the grocery store and all that, huh?
He's like, I have gone out and started big games in the SEC. I mean, in his mind, this guy started at Texas A&M. He started against Tennessee and Knoxville. He was starting quarterback against top-ranked Clemson at Williams-Brice Stadium. He doesn't want to hear about the BOGO specials at Publix anymore. He's done with that.
But he started the flood game too at LSU.
He did.
Yeah. He's
been around game, technically.
Yeah,
he's been around the block a couple of times with the Gamecocks, and that will bode well for him moving forward. What he doesn't have in pure talent, he can make up for with guile and experience, which is something that's very useful as well. All right, we'll hear from Perry Orth coming up. We'll also hear from Debo Samuel. It appears the Gamecock coaching staff on the offensive side very impressed with their young collection of receivers, the freshmen who are coming in. Looks like all of them are going to get a chance to play and play right away, guys.
Well, I'm not surprised at Dawkins because anybody that comes out of that program over there in Duncan, their receivers know how to run patterns. So you knew he probably was going to be probably one of the more technically sound guys they had. But in my mind, just off the top of my head, as I said last night, Corn, I think if Banks can show that he can catch the ball, because they have so many talented receivers that can get open underneath, I think that takes the pressure off the quarterback to have one guy at least that can blow the top off of defense, get those safeties out there so you can use your H-backs and tight ends.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of deep passes thrown last night, a couple to Samuel, but I don't think there's going to be – well, I know there won't be as many shots down the field with Kurt Roper calling the plays as opposed to Steve Spurrier, who was all about getting the ball down the field. Brian Edwards, now I didn't get there till about 7:15, 7:20 last night. But in the past scale, there's video that's floating around on the internet right now, some still pictures as well. But Brian Edwards had a catch in the end zone there in the corner where he went up with one hand completely stretched out as far as he could reach and just palmed a ball with one hand for a touchdown catch. Very, very impressive catch. Impressive still shot, a very impressive video that confirms the great catch. And he looks he looks good for a freshman. He's got a lot of weight on him. Does not look like a freshman.
Jamal Kelly versus Georgia a few years ago did the same thing in a Gamecock win over the Bulldogs. All right, 800-956-7266. Want to remind you, whether you're a part of Gamecock Nation or you bleed Clemson Orange, everyone can agree on Founders Federal Credit Union with a convenient location at the Russell House on USC's campus and a new location now open, Highway 93 in Clemson. Founders is a sure fan favorite. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. Jump to the phones here on Sports Talk, and we're going to go where first, Jarmark?
All right, we got Glenn Davis in North Charleston, so welcome on, Glenn.
All right, Glenn, how are you?
How you doing, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. As you know, I'm a Carolina fan. I'm glad to hear a good report on the drills today, but I just got a feeling that a lot of people are going to underestimate this team. Will Muschamp is a good coach, and I just have a good feeling that it's going to be a great season.
Well, define great season in your opinion for this team. How do you define a great season?
I think the quarterback's going to get a lot more protection than in the past in the front line than usual, because that's a real problem here in the in every season that I know of, except when Spurrier was coaching. But still, we had a little problem with the front line protecting the ball. But it might be a little better this year, a little tweaked up, where the quarterback can get a good play in and an eye downfield a lot better. And it depends, too, on how big the other side is on defense and how tall they are. But
yeah, I know that, and, I think the offensive line's got a chance to be a strength for the Gamecocks. I'm interested to know, though, what Gamecock fans think will be, in terms of wins, a successful season. Back in a moment. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Palmetto Pigskin Tour tonight at Benedict College in downtown Columbia, home of the Tigers. And they'll be with us in the second hour. Tomorrow night, Charleston Southern, home of the Buccaneers, will be there. Little football talk. BJ Mackey will join us some tomorrow at Charleston Southern as well. We'll get a full dose of Charleston Southern stuff tomorrow night here on Sports Talk. Thursday, at Patriots Point in Mount Pleasant to participate. You know, we got some new people involved in the program, K-Max. I think I need to report this. They may not be aware. Jarmart may not be aware that I am considered the premier media golfer in South Carolina. So I'm often invited to golf outings to be challenged. So I'll be at the Brigadier Kickoff Classic golf outing down at Patriots Point. On Thursday, we'll do some Citadel stuff then, and then back on the road next week with more visits to schools. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. You heard the news about Austin Bryant, potential star defensive end for Clemson, going down with a foot injury. It's going to cost him some weeks. This was announced today by Dabo Swinney after the Tigers had their afternoon practice. Let's go to Dabo Swinney, hear from him about the injury, about the practice today, and more about the Tigers. Here's Dabo.
Tough finish, good camp. We'll kind of turn the script now and kind of enter into the next phase of our preparation process that we're going through here to get them ready to play. Start back school tomorrow, so we'll have dinner and big team meeting, kind of get them dialed in on some things that we need to cover as they transition into the next stage here and get their lives back, because we really have had control of their lives for the last over 2 weeks here. So now we got to start balancing everything, but it's good. It's good for them to get back in school. Great energy on campus. All the students coming back. I had a chance to speak to the freshmen this morning. So, tomorrow is just a day for them to kind of, reacclimate into being a Clemson student. Come in here on Thursday, have a big scrimmage, and then really start, like I said, getting dialed in. Friday and Saturday be kind of some season prep type stuff, and then Monday be all Auburn prep for a couple weeks. So really looking forward to it, to be honest with you. I'm so dang tired of looking at each other. I think we're all a little kind of camp drunk right now, ready for a little shift of gears. You guys may or may not have heard we had an injury with Austin Bryant yesterday. Had just a kind of a freaky thing, but really the same thing he did in high school. But he had a screw put in his, I guess, the bottom part of his toe or something this morning. So he's going to be out for a few weeks. Hopefully, we'll have him back sooner than later. We're hoping for the Georgia Tech game that he'll be ready to roll, but we'll see. Pretty simple procedure as far as what they do. Actually had the same, like I said, the same exact thing on the left foot in high school. Put a screw in that spot. He's still got, screw stays with you for life. So now he's got 2 screws in the same spot on both feet. So anyway, he'll be back ready to go. In the meantime, somebody else will step up. And then we're hopeful to get Edmund back on Monday. That's our hope with him. Really have 2 good weeks. So lost one, but hopefully getting one back.
Does that mean Wilkins might play more at the end?
Yeah, could. Oh yeah. I mean, we're looking at all those options. I think that's always, like I said, always been kind of a factor for us. And that's why we did it this spring. We really needed to have that plan ready, and we needed to get some information to find out. And we certainly demonstrated this spring that he could do everything we needed him to do. So, again, the good news is we got that flexibility with the guys that we have inside. Jabril being at the end has been a big plus for us. That's been really good. He's 260. He got sick, this spring, summer. He lost a little bit of weight, so it's really a better spot for him right now. I think he'll end up back inside at some point, but it's a better spot. So, but really proud of Yearden. He's had a great camp. Cleveland's had a great camp. Chris Register, y'all heard me talk about many times, probably one of the most improved players on our team. And, and then Jabril sliding out there has been good. And that's just, again, good depth inside. So Christian has worked mostly the first part of camp. He's worked mostly at tackle. So he'll get a lot more work at the end. And you know, our best four is him and in somebody else up. That's where we're good news is we got some time to kind of work through that. And like I said, had a great camp, and you know, but the positive is two positives. He'll be back, number one, and number two, he did get a lot of good work, so he's prepared and ready to go do what he needs to do when he gets back.
All right, Dabo, from today, talking about the practice, where the team is, and, of course, a lot of interest regarding the injury to Austin Bryant. So the Tigers have had a fairly quiet camp to this point. It's a shame they lose a significant player for a fair amount of time. He's got to have another screw put in that foot to fix the problem. So let's hope it all goes well for him, and the Tigers can get by without him. Again, they do have talent, as you heard him talking about some of the players that can step in there. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just guessing here. Christian Wilkins, sometimes, as we know, Pro, these things can be it looks like a curse right now, but it could be a blessing. Now you get Christian Wilkins at defensive end, perhaps. You slide, who knows, maybe the freshman Dexter Lawrence gets more snaps in the interior, or Scott Pagano, maybe Sterling Johnson. But I think Wilkins on that defensive end, if he handles it the way he did in the spring when they looked at him there and some early in the camp, there may not even be a drop-off there.
Well, the interesting thing came back is the fact that sometimes a guy comes in, he plays well, and you'd be surprised, Corn. You'd be very surprised how the other guy gets healed up quicker when some guy has his position and looks good playing it.
Yeah. Well, that's if you're dealing with an attitude. This is a physical thing. I don't think the blood system is going to work any quicker because the poor guy is sidelined and wants to get back on the field. But you know, you look at Auburn. I think one of you made a really good point early on, and that is that you know, we're not expecting Auburn to come out and throw the ball all over the field. So pass rushing from that standpoint may not be at a premium unless Auburn's behind and having to throw the ball a great deal from that standpoint. All right, back to the phones we go. 800-956-7266. We are headed next to.
We got John from Ruby Like the Jewel.
John in Ruby sitting on his porch watching the sun go down. Good evening.
No, actually, my porch faces east, so I'm watching the sunset.
Oh.
That's fine. You ought to see the morning sunrises out here.
I bet it's beautiful.
Corn's not up that early.
Everything's beautiful up here in the upstate, man. And I just got one comment about that and everything, and I hope it gets back to Xavier there. If you don't start the first one, you can't start them all.
Okay.
With Bryant going down, I mean, here's Kelly's chance, Xavier Kelly. I mean, if you don't start the first one, you can't start them all. You got to start somewhere, so why not with the first one?
Well, they're excited about Xavier Kelly. They're excited about Xavier Kelly, but, I mean, do you want to have two defensive ends starting for you at Auburn that have never played a snap for you before? I mean, you'd have Farrell on one side, Kelly on the other. That's a lot of inexperience.
I have no problem in the world with it because last year or year before last, I was listening to this same show. Been listening to it since you come on there, and there was talk about there's no way in the world that you can win with a freshman quarterback. Not in college football. Can't be done. So
well, I mean, Deshaun Watson is what some might call a once-in-a-generation talent. He's a sample size of one, also in a statistical sense, an outlier. By and large, a true freshman quarterback, you're not going to win big with a true freshman quarterback.
He had his issues as a freshman. He wasn't perfect.
Well, he was hurt. That was his biggest
good,
issue.
But he had some picks, and he had some mistakes along the way as a freshman. He a lot better last year than as a freshman. Probably will be better this year than he was last year. Thanks for the call. Back in a moment here on Sports Talk. Okay, we're back. It is Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network over at Benedict College tonight. The Palmetto Pigskin Tour rolling along this week, kicking up this week. Tomorrow night will be at Charleston Southern. Phone number 800-956-7266. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. A reminder, score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders has convenient office locations at USC and Clemson. Also ATMs at Clemson, Converse, Limestone, PC, USC, USC Lancaster, Winthrop, and York Tech. Visit foundersfcu.com for a full listing to find an ATM or office near you. Hey, you're not a member? Visit Relax. Join Founders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. All right, to the recruiting we go here on this Tuesday night. And the big news, the commitment to USC by defensive back Hamza Nasir-Ildeen, 6'4", 205 out of Concord, North Carolina. He was at USC today and committed to the coaching staff to Will Muschamp this afternoon. He is considered one of the top safety prospects nationally for 2017. Narrowed at Florida State. USC offered in February. He also held offers from Clemson, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Maryland, East Carolina, and some smaller programs. He made multiple visits to USC over the recruiting campaign, including today, and developed a strong relationship with Will Muschamp and recruiter Bobby Bentley. He did not want to do a full interview about the commitment because he said they've got a big game coming up. He's trying to focus on that. He did give us a brief statement. Quote, "I'm excited to be a Gamecock, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for me at the University of South Carolina." End quote. Earlier in visiting USC and talking to us, he talked about his relationship with the coaches, how he liked how they took care of the players, and also, of course, he feels there is the opportunity for him to play relatively soon. Last season, he had 85 tackles with 6 interceptions. He also plays receiver. He had 30 catches for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. He gives USC 20 commitments in the class. Receiver Ortre Smith of Wando, still set for a September 11th announcement, which is his birthday. And he still has the same Final 5, USC, Clemson, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, though I get the sense that Florida might be waning here a bit because he said that he hears the most regularly from the other 4. He last talked with Clemson recruiter Tony Elliott about a week ago. He last heard from USC recruiter Brian McClendon a couple of days ago. And Smith knows that there's not much more the recruiters can tell him to win him over. He's fully versed on all the schools through his visits and the many conversations. He said that on making the decision, it'll come down to how comfortable he feels, being comfortable in general. And he said the relationship is a key thing to him. He was not sure if he'd make it back to Clemson or USC prior to making his decision. Clemson has a home game on September 10th. USC does not have a home game prior to his decision. This one, I don't know. There's a lot of factors playing in here, personally and professionally for him. Personally, of course, his mother was a volleyball player at Clemson, so he has no doubt spent a lot of time at Clemson inside the athletic program. Professionally, South Carolina has recruited him harder than Clemson has continually, in that for a while there, Clemson backed off as they were looking at some other receivers that they thought they might get. When J.J. Robinson of Lakewood, Florida, went in a different direction, Clemson kind of came back on Smith real hard. Now, they've told him that they've wanted him all along, and they've been very, very strong with him in terms of their effort since then. South Carolina has been the more consistent of the two throughout the process, with Muschamp regularly in touch with him and selling him on the idea of their need for him and the opportunity to play at South Carolina right away. So he'll just have to make that decision. I got a feeling it will come down to the 2 in-state schools. Unless he can't choose between them and decides the third option is best to go outside the state. But I'd be surprised if that were to happen. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be South Carolina. I can't throw my hat either way right now. Don't know after talking to him last night. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to – when I deliver a recruiting prophecy, K-Mac, it usually comes through. So usually. Didn't say every time. I said usually.
You don't – your crystal balls are always correct?
I didn't say that. I said usually.
It's shaky.
I got one basketball note I want to mention only because of where this guy lives. He might eventually become a factor. Clemson is showing interest in this basketball player in the 2019 class. Small forward Kobe Barnes of he's from Floyd.
Come on, Corn. Come on.
He's from Floyd's Knobs, Indiana.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought you were going to say he's from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Welcome to the 8th grade locker room here on Sports Talk.
Floyd's Knobs. I didn't name the town. That's the name of the town. Floyd's Knobs, Indiana. I have no idea where that is. That sounds like a place Jarmart might have gone for vacation once time. Floyd's Knobs, Indiana.
You know, been Knobs Creek, Knobs Hill, Floyd's Knobs. I'd just go to the Tour de Knobs.
He is also hearing from Butler, Evansville, and Purdue. Floyd's Knobs, Indiana. Look that up. Somebody look that up and see where that is. Floyd's Knobs,
is that
Indiana.
Plural? Knobs?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 words. Floyd's space Knobs, Indiana. All right, there you go with recruiting for now. It is always available to you on our website, sportstalksc.com. And on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting to take you to all our good stuff. Coming up in the next hour, we'll have the folks here from Benedict with us. Looking forward to having Coach Mike White, a couple of the players with us. Let's see. We're going to have George Myers Jr., a former Grambling State player out of Hepzibah, Georgia, one of their best offensive players last season. He's going to be with us. And we're also going to have with us, I believe, Stephen Williams. Is that right? Oh, Stephen. I'm sorry. Stephen Williams, senior linebacker out of Belton Honeypath. He was the leading defensive player for the Tigers last year. So look forward to having them here with us next hour. Tell you a little bit about their season last year. I'd rather talk about it without Coach White being here because it'd probably give him indigestion. They averaged 9 points a game, allowed 35. That's not going to get it done.
That's not good.
They the first 3 games they got beat 49-24. Then they got a little better. Kentucky State beat them 32-19. Lane beat them 23-19. So that's there. And then down the road, their next to last game, Southeastern, 35-20. So they showed some signs of life there, but it was not a good year. However, it was a transitional year, new coaching staff and all that. So they hope to learn from that. And they're hungry. As a coaching staff and as a team with their players, they're hungry to go out and get a win. I mean, when you go through an entire season, guys, winless, you can't wait for the next year to roll around to get that first W.
Well, we saw that happen a few years ago in the Garden in Black with Lou Holtz.
That's exactly right. Just down the road, the 0-11 season.
New Mexico
will open
State will never get over that beat down. Then Georgia took it the next week.
They were off and running. They tore down the goalposts, as I recall.
Yeah, both that 2 straight weeks. I think they might be one of the only schools in NCAA history to tear down the goalpost 2 straight weeks.
And from there, they invented the collapsible goalpost.
How many?
Okay.
Yeah, that was something.
Top of the hour break. We'll be back. K-Mac's going to head over to USC practice. If anything significant happens there, he'll check back in with us. We will hear from the Gamecocks, Perry Orth and Debo Samuel as well in our next hour. All right, so stay with us. Sports Talk returns to Benedict College after the top of the hour break.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network on a Tuesday night here in Columbia. We are on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Didn't have to go very far over at Benedict College here in downtown Columbia, where the Tigers have been hard at work today, both the varsity and some guys trying to earn a spot as walk-ons with the Tigers. Head coach Mike White, going into his second season here at Benedict, has joined us up in the cool press box. How are you?
A lot cooler.
Yeah. Hot out there today, wasn't it?
Very hot. Hot on the turf today. Yeah, it's a good, warm day here in Columbia.
How are you dealing with the heat and the humidity and keeping your players alert and healthy?
Yeah, we are watching them closely. Our trainer definitely watch them very closely. And when it's this hot, you have to. Yeah.
How often do you have to back off of a drill?
Well, we don't really back off as much as you kind of watching them. You might have to back a player off.
Yeah.
Back him up some. But you usually pretty well know your guys and what kind of shape they in, and most of our bigs are the ones you got to really watch, but all of them you got to keep an eye on.
You feel like the team reported in good shape a week ago Monday?
No.
Oh, not in good shape.
No, I didn't think we was in the shape we needed to be. I thought our skill guys were in pretty good shape, but the bigs I thought needed to be in better shape. And, with the limited practice you have and the limited time you have to get them in condition, that's a little setback for us. So we're going to have to get them where they need to be by game one here.
Yeah. How far down the road are you to getting them in shape?
They're coming along. They're working hard. They are pushing themselves. And we have any guys right now, at least our bigs are really selling out and giving us a great effort.
Well, that home opener, that season opener here at Johnson Stadium, not too far down the road against Livingstone.
Correct. A good team, team that's probably going to play very fast like they did last year, and we got to be up to speed. So that's a tough one when you're trying to get in shape and you're trying to get ready for a team who's probably a no huddle, fast-paced, blitzing type squad. So that's what we got with. That's what we faced.
I went over the numbers from last season earlier. I didn't want to talk about it with you here because I didn't want to upset you or anything, but pretty ugly.
Yes.
How did your team in the offseason react to what you went through in year one?
We took it. We said we had to own that. That's who we were. We were at practice each day trying to get back. We knew going into a lot of games last year it was going to be uphill. And so this offseason we knew what we had to work on, especially the line of scrimmage. It was important to get some guys in here who can take over that line, and I thought the staff did a pretty good job of that, and the guys we had returning. This is a young team. They, with a year up under their belt, should be a lot better team against the run and being able to run the football is something we want to do this year. So I think the offseason we did a pretty good job of spring practice, recruiting, getting ready for this 16.
What's going on at the quarterback battle?
The quarterback battle is the freshman we have here, and we'll probably be a two-quarterback system. Mason, who was our QB last year, will return, but you'll see a lot of the freshman kid, which his name flies right out of my head right now.
Phillip Brown?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those two kids probably be the ones who take the maximum snaps. You got some other young kids who are out there trying to come onto the field right now, but those two kids will be the ones who will handle most of the quarterback duties.
What do you like about each one, starting with Mason? What does he do well?
Mason is a good leader. Not his passing is not his strong point. Excellent runner. He controls the offense. He does a good job in knowing exactly where everybody needs to be. And again, a tough football player. He took some licks last year and got right up and rallied his guys, and so we're looking forward to him having a better season and us knowing him a lot better trying to put him in a better situation offensively.
And how about Phillip Brown? I mean, as a true freshman coming in, what can you expect of him?
Not a lot. We're going to limit what he's going to do. We have a package for him where he's going to be able to run. You give him a few passes, a few runs, and, keep him ready because, again, with the limited – last year we played every quarterback we had. And so –
trying to find the right guy?
Yes, it was tough. But, this year we want to make sure we go in with 2 quarterbacks that are ready to go. And so we won't hold the freshman back. If he's ready, we'll give him some snaps also.
If you could hang your hat on one part of this team right now that you're confident in going into the season, what would it be?
I wouldn't say that, but I feel better. I feel a lot more comfortable in the run game and us being able to stop the run. Being a sound defensive ball club, you have to start there. You can't allow people to run right at you. And last year we allowed too many people to, just big plays. And I've always been a defensive guy who kind of took a lot of pride in that. So last year was about as ugly as it can get. And this year we hope to make a lot of improvements. And I think the guys and the staff have worked hard to do that.
Yeah, and we were talking off the air. I mean, you're understaffed. You only have 5 assistant coaches, which is 4 below the minimum. How do you make up for lacking 4 assistant coaches?
Well, that happened to us. The cut only happened to us a few months ago, so it wasn't a whole lot we could do with that. Right now, we only have 3 defensive coaches and 2 offensive coaches right now. So that's kind of the hand we dealt. So we're going to play it. We hope to change that this offseason, get it right. But right now, that's kind of what we're dealing with.
So when in a game situation, how many are up in the booth and how many are with you on the sideline?
We'll have the DB coach. He'll be up top, and we'll have which is a grad assistant or a student assistant probably be up offensively. The O-line coaches stay down, and our OC will stay down, and we'll try to do the best we can with what we got.
Wow. Are you the only team in your league that is undermanned?
I'm quite sure some of the teams are dealing with 5 full-time assistants. Some of them have part-time and graduate assistants and student assistants. We don't have that. We've took a huge cut besides the 1 staff guy we lost. We lost some other pieces there. So we're in a tough situation, but I like the way our guys have bounced back. I've been here before. We're going to keep what's important, and focus on that, which is winning games and the other things that take care of itself later on.
So you do not feel discouraged?
No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all. The 2 guys, the Step Williams, who leads our defense, and then George, who is a senior this year. Both of them are seniors, have done a real good job in terms of leadership and paying attention to what's important. And we got to focus on what we can control here. Everything else, we're gonna leave that somewhere else, and we're gonna block, and we're gonna tackle, and we're gonna play a better brand of football this year.
So, what would you consider a successful season?
Record-wise, you mean? Record-wise,
what are you thinking?
I think we can. I think we can do a lot better than we did last year. I would say the season would be a good year for us, and I think we've so far with the young guys who come in been pretty happy with the mix with the guys we have here. So it makes us look, as a staff, it makes you feel a lot better. The 2 freshman cornerbacks we have come in fitted with the safeties we have, so it looks good. It looks a lot better than it was before when you was on pencil and paper looking at it.
Well, you win 6 games, you're going to get coach of the year. I'll tell you that right now, huh? You win 6 games and turn it around, go from 0 and whatever to 6 wins. That's coach of the year material. You open up against Livingstone at home, and you get Limestone at home. So at least you got a couple of home games to open up with.
Happy about that. Yeah, very happy about that. We have a good following here. Fan support is strong here, and we put some wins up. I'm almost sure that's going to triple.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you for the visit. Best of luck. We'll be checking in with you, and hope it goes well for you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Coach Mike White here at the Benedict College. Players coming up in a moment.
A little bit louder.
Oh, louder.
Yeah, turn it up.
Hello, hello, hello,
All
hello.
right.
Is that good?
Yeah.
George? We are back at Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornbluth from Benedict College tonight, the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Tomorrow night will be at Charleston Southern. But tonight we're talking with the Tigers. Coach Mike White was with us a few minutes ago. Now we welcome in a couple of the standout players for the Tigers. Senior linebacker Stephen Williams out of Belton Honeypath and junior running back George Myers Jr. from Hepzibah, Georgia. Good to have both of you with us. Stephen, South Carolina guy. Remember you from your high school days at BHP. And tough season last year. You heard me talking with Coach White. So what's the approach for you guys as a team to turn it around and have a successful year?
Well, right now our approach is to stay focused on one thing at a time. And mainly that's learning defense, getting our scheme, making sure we understand the concept where everybody fits. And just making sure we take it just a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm. After going through a year like last year, you know, offense struggled, defense gave up a lot of points. What do you guys say to each other in the locker room during spring practice, during fall camp, and to help you, you know, maybe learn something from last year and put that experience to good use?
The most we say to each other is something that it will encourage each other, pick each other up. We really don't try to worry about what happened to us last year. We're worried about this year getting better. That's all we do. Every day we try to get a little bit better, get better every day.
Do you see it?
Yes, sir. I see it a lot.
In what ways?
And from the front seven, I believe that you can't play football without your front seven, starting with the offensive line to the defensive line, to the linebackers, to the running backs, to the quarterback. We believe that if we stay strong with right there with the front seven on both sides, we'll be fine.
George, the offense had its issues last year, averaged about 9. I know you can do better than that. You got to feel like you can do better than that.
All right.
What do you see in camp so far on the improvement side for the offense?
The front seven, the O-line is definitely getting better. We're understanding what plays to run at what times and what concepts the plays are trying to do. So, and the running game is really improved. I've seen that through camp.
What things are they doing with you to get the ball in your hands? Obviously, you can be an effective offensive weapon. How are they trying to get the ball to you more?
I'm all around. I'm actually outside at wide out in the slot. I'll move to running back if I have to. So whatever I have to do this year, I'll do it to help the team.
Do you prefer one over the other?
No, I don't. I can do it all if I have to.
Last year you had, in 10 games, you had 46 rushes, 114, 23 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously a little bit more of a impact from a receiving standpoint. What about the return game? Are you helping in that area?
Yes, sir. Punt return and kick return, looking to do more this year. I made all conference for returning last season, so I'll be looking to do more in the return game.
Now, you started your career at Grambling.
Yes, sir.
Before coming here. Tell us about your experience there and how you ended up at Benedict.
Yeah, my freshman year I started kick return, actually came fourth in the SWAC. After they fired my coach, Doug Williams, I had a chance to play for my scholarship in the spring, but I tore my meniscus. So, and the new coaches cut my scholarship, and that's how I ended up at Benedict College.
That's cold.
Yeah.
That's cold. What was it like playing for Doug Williams for 1 year?
Oh man, it was a lot of love. Yeah. The games. Yeah, it was love.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I mean, as far as you just liked him as a person?
As a person, as a coach, as anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Stephen, growing up in South Carolina and playing for a good program at BHP, as you were coming up through the ranks and looking around for potential college football opportunities, where else did you have a chance to investigate as a possible home, and why did you end up at Benedict?
When I was coming out of high school, I had 14 colleges, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 14 that I was interested in going to, and I have been talking to them. But I really didn't take much interest in it because I didn't feel like it was my home. You know, I was kind of young making that decision on my own. And I believe it was all God's plan to put me right here at Benedict College.
And how has the experience worked out for you? I know last year couldn't have left a very good taste in your mouth, but the overall experience, how would you describe it?
Oh man, Benedict College is great. It really did something for me being a senior now and looking back, coming in as a freshman. It was a great impact on my life. I believe that it bettered my life, but I'm more anxious to see what's going to happen in the future. It just from graduating here and pursuing my career with football, without my coaches. I mean, my coaches support me so much that I love them like fathers.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's great. How important is it to you as a senior to have that successful final year, considering what you guys went through last year, and know that, you know, you're leaving here helping build something and leaving a bit of a legacy behind?
It's very important to me to leave a legacy because I believe we laid a foundation, me and George, being seniors. I believe that we have to be there, be on time, be accountable. Everything relies on us. And I think that's very important to myself and to him. I believe that he believes just as much as I do. And with that being said, I mean, I really don't look at, okay, it's my senior year, I want to go out and do this for myself because it's not about me. It's about my teammates.
Absolutely. Last year, 52 tackles for you, 5.5 tackles for loss. No sacks.
No sacks.
You going to get a sack this year?
I don't talk about it. I just put in the work. I don't talk about it.
You're going to get a sack.
Yeah, he's going to get a sack.
He'll get a sack.
Yeah.
Yeah. You play Livingstone here in the Classic to open the season.
Yes, sir.
They treated y'all rudely last year, George, 49-6.
Right.
Yeah. Tell me about how you're going to turn that whole deal around.
We're going to come out fired up. I know that. First, understanding what we have to do, what we're up against, and just take it one game at a time.
But do you feel like you've got some debts to pay back?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
To put it mildly?
Oh, yeah. We really do. We'll talk about it on the field.
Yeah. But is there, I mean, like, I know it's one game at a time for you, but is there any one team, Stephen, that?
No, sir. Game one.
Game one. Totally all about Livingstone.
All about Livingstone.
Yeah, and getting them back.
Right.
So George, what will you consider a successful season?
A successful season. A winning season. More wins than losses. First, we want to get that first win to get the momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get there, I think we'll be on the roll this year.
How about you, Stephen?
Game one.
That's it, huh? Just win game one.
Game one.
And then go to game two.
Game two.
How important is it? I mean, and they ignore a loser. You know that.
Right.
So you got your first 2 games at home. You got a chance to win people over. How important is it to get that win in game one? Huh?
I believe we already got support here. They support us so good here. Like, I don't know where we'll be without our fans. I mean, we got great fans here, and I appreciate all the support that they give us. So, I'm pretty sure they'll support us no matter what's the outcome.
George?
And if we get those 2 wins, it'll be more support.
Well, I'm looking at the numbers here. You had 7,800 for the opening game here last year.
Mhm.
So imagine if you can get off to a 2-0 start and get
Right.
some people talking positive about you.
Right.
Yeah. All right, real quick, George, what's the key? What's the key to turn this thing around?
Team. Togetherness.
Stefan?
One day at a time. That's it.
Good answer.
This dude's well coached, huh?
Yeah.
They've gotten inside your head, right?
In my head?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, to get you focused, right? One day at a time, win the day. Is that what you're thinking?
That's what we say every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Win the day.
Every day.
You want to give a shout out to the people up at BHP?
Yes, sir.
Well, shout them out.
No, I don't do all that. I'm good.
Shout out to who? VHP?
It's high school.
Oh.
Belton Honea Path. Come on, George, get with it. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. George Myers Jr.,
All right.
Stephon Williams.
Yes, sir.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Hope it goes great. We'll be right back.
Okay.
tell you, you got to love kids like that. You know, they're in an underfunded program, lacking a full complement of coaches, but they want to win. They want to play the game. They want to win. They're out here working as hard as they can, and you got to root for players like that. You got to root for a team like that. I hope it goes well for them. Love to see them get off to a good start and get some wins. Their season opens up at home here at Johnson Stadium in Columbia against Livingstone at 5 o'clock on the 3rd. Then Limestone comes in the following week. Then they go to Central State up in Ohio on the 17th, and they close out September on the road at home against Fort Valley State. So that's their opening month. Then 3 straight road games, Gardner-Webb, Lane, and Clark, Atlanta. Back home for Morehouse. Then a game against Albany State in Augusta. That's Coach White's old school. Then a road game to Kentucky. And then Point comes to town. What's the point? The point is to beat Point on November 12th. So good luck to the Benedict Tigers. All right, USC practice going on as we speak. K-Mac is out there for that. He was out there last night to watch the Gamecocks and had a chance to talk to a couple of their key offensive cogs, beginning with the quarterback, Perry Orth. Let's listen in as Perry talks to K-Mac and other reporters.
Yeah, I'd just say just the chemistry of everybody, learning the new system, learning what Coach Roper and, all the offensive coaches are asking. But I think tonight was a good showing. I know they were letting some things go here and there, but, I think we show we can run into the ball.
Lost Champs praised Debo a good bit. What have you seen from Debo in summer workouts and this week as he's been back from practice?
We really started noticing Debo, or I did personally last year. It was unfortunate that he was out with a hamstring, but his progress since spring ball to now, he's just an explosive player with the ball in his hand. He knows the offense. He's a smart football player, and he catches the football, and that's what you want in a receiver.
Who are some of the other receivers that have caught your eye and you're feeling comfortable with?
Brian Edwards has really caught my eye since he got here in January. Jamari Smith, Terry Guger's played well. All the freshmen, honestly. Jake Bentley too. No, I'm just kidding. Chavis, Corey, Drake, all of those guys. Keel. Hayden. You name them. Y'all saw them tonight. They caught the ball well, made plays, and they were. I think they're going to be special for us.
Already answered this, but just being in here tonight with the fans and everything, just how different was that for you guys?
It was a little bit different, but then again, I've been here now 4 years, so I've had some open practices and scrimmages here, and I tell you what, with the music going, it felt like we were playing on the road. I was screaming at the offensive line, trying to get the protection down to them, but it was fun. It was good to get out and play in front of our fans. We had a great turnout tonight, and everybody was excited, talking about it all day about finally getting to play in front of some people, and show some of our fans all the hard work that we've done, and we'll be ready and excited for September 1st.
How's camp been going for you guys?
Camp's been great. It was a little bit different than how Coach Spurrier did it. It was obviously demanding like any camp is, but I think we bonded a lot together as a team, and we'll be ready to go come September 1st.
Is it more physical? Is that the biggest difference?
Not so much for me, but the other positions I can tell. I live with Hayden Hurst, and he comes back pretty sore every night, and it's a grind for them to get back at it every single day. But hats off to them. Nobody's been complaining or moaning and groaning about having to hit every single day. But I think that's the kind of culture that coaches instilled in us, and I think that'll be the years to come here.
Speaking of Hurst, do you feel like the tight ends are going to be utilized a little bit more in this system?
Yeah, absolutely. We moved the tight ends around a bit, and they can all catch the football and make plays with it. So Hayden, Casey, Keel, Jacob August, any of those guys, they're going to be special for us.
It's hard to replace a guy like Farrell Cooper. Do you notice him not being out there?
Oh, absolutely. He's a big time player, and I wish him all the best out in LA, and I think he's doing pretty well out there. He did a couple workouts with us over the summer, so it was good to see him again. But we got really good young playmakers that are going to step in and take over his role.
Did Coach give you any idea when you would find out who started?
No. He told us right now that we're just going to keep battling until they let us know.
You hoping for some clarity coming out of the Saturday scrimmage? Were you hoping that he would say it's down to 2 and these are the 2, or is it okay to carry it on as long as?
Yeah, whatever the coaches want. I've been a team guy my whole career here, and if I'm the guy for the team that coach coach wants, and then it'll be me. And if it's Brandon, then it'll be Brandon. So, we'll see as camp goes. We got a big scrimmage, big week of practice this week, and a big scrimmage on Saturday to, hopefully be able to figure things out.
Your road has been well documented, and here you are still contending for a starting job, even though a few years ago you were number 6 on the depth chart.
Yeah. I think I hate to sound mean, but that story's kind of run its course now. We've been talking about that for a couple of years now. It's not about that anymore. I've played in big time games and stuff, and I've proven to myself I can do that. So, at this point, I just got to go out and win a job like I've had to do my whole career.
He sounds like a starting quarterback in the SEC. He really does. He carries himself well. Obviously, he's mature. He's a little older. If he were a few inches taller, he probably would have earned a scholarship somewhere in a big-time college situation compared to having to go to, Florida Atlantic, I think, to start out, and before he transferred to USC. Very interesting road for Perry Orth. And if he turns out to be the starter and can win some games for South Carolina, it would be a great story for him. But that remains to be seen. Brandon McElwain in particular still has something to say about who's going to be the starting quarterback. One guy who would benefit from good quarterback play is Deebo Samuel, a guy with a ton of talent and a shaky hamstring. They got to get him the ball, and they got to keep him healthy. He is a weapon for South Carolina. I think everybody recognizes that. He spoke with K-Mac and other reporters after practice last night to update how things are coming along.
How's camp been for you guys? Has it been as physical and tough as you thought it would be?
Yes, it's been real physical. Everybody flying around to the ball. Everybody out here trying to make plays. Everybody out here fighting for a spot.
How do you feel going into the season knowing they were probably going to be the number 1 target?
I mean, I'm just out here trying to get everybody better and me better as well. We're going to show we're capable of September the 1st.
What did you learn from Farrell Cooper?
I mean, he taught me a lot, how to come off the ball, how to run routes, make everything look the same.
You knew going in. Muschamp said he wanted you guys to play fresh, fast, and physical. Has it been as tough a camp as you thought it would be? And what's been the toughest aspect of this?
I don't say it's really tough. It's really a mental thing, a mindset. You come out here, you come out here slacking. I mean, you're going to have a bad day. You come out here with energy, you're going to be flying around making plays.
You caught balls from all 3 of these guys that are competing for the quarterback position. Is there a difference when one guy throws it versus the other as far as velocity or accuracy? Or have you noticed anything 17 days in, 15 days in?
No, sir.
What have you noticed different from the defense from your previous 2 years here with Muschamp and T-Rob running it?
I mean, we're more physical, and we are up-tempo offense, so they give that's an advantage for us. For the defense, it's going to help us as well. Even though if a team not up-tempo, we still going to be lined up on defense, ready to go.
When you say more physical, you talking about like the defensive backs in terms of how they've tried to play press coverage. And have you noticed a lot about
that? They come down to make tackles.
Who's been the most physical with you so far?
I mean, all of them out here really competing.
There's got to be one guy that's been a little bit more physical.
No, sir.
From what you've seen in practice, what's your impression of this tight end group you're at?
I mean, I feel like our tight ends is really received. We spread them out wide. We attach them. They block. They really do the same thing we do.
You have a sense of how this quarterback's been shaping up? I mean, sure. You have a sense of how this quarterback battle has been shaping up, how all 3 of these guys are still out there?
I mean, like Coach Muschamp said, if we at the end of the camera, we're still out here seeing which one going to be the quarterback. They're all competitors.
How conscious are you of your hamstring when you're running routes and doing things? Is something you think about at all?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, if it's healthy, it's healthy. I'm pushing myself to the limit.
All right, Deebo Samuel talking to the media. Apparently the hammy's okay. According to a tweet from David Cloninger, GoGamecocks.com, he went way up in the air, arms overhead. He caught a corner touchdown pass about 3 minutes ago. So the hammy looks good. David Caravello, Jamarcus King with his second INT in as many days. This one off of Jake Bentley. They were working a little slant and skeleton drills, so he picks him off. McElwain came out with the first team today. Again, they have been alternating between McElwain and Orth, who's running with the first team. So it was McElwain's day to come out with the first team so far today. We'll hit a break. Got a preview coming up for you and more here on Sports Talk. Okay. All right, time to continue with our previews of SEC and ACC teams. No, that's not the Clemson Tiger fight song. That's the LSU Tiger fight song. Here is Carson Mason.
In his 10 seasons at LSU, head coach Les Miles has never had a losing season. With an experienced quarterback and a Heisman Trophy candidate running back, 2016 isn't looking to be any different. The Tigers are coming off of a 9-3 season where they won the Texas Bowl 56-27 over Texas Tech. Along with 17 other starters, junior quarterback Brandon Harris, he started all 12 games, completed 149 of 277 passes for just over 2,100 yards. He also had 13 touchdowns with 6 interceptions.
Brandon Harris, quarterback, certainly our play there will be significant, and he shows more poise and more comfort, and he's more ambitious. He's, with the more you accomplish, the more you want to accomplish. The artistic piece of being a quarterback is the style of throw, and the style of throw is really where he's at. Do I drive it? Do I put air on it? Where am I? What is this throw? And there's where you want a quarterback to spend his time, and he is. And I think he's, for a guy that's thrown for 2,600 yards and 19 touchdowns in 2 years is, kind of a nice position to be in going into the season.
Not to mention the Tigers have one of the best, if not the best, running backs in college football. Junior Leonard Fournette was a consensus first-team All-American in 2015, and he led the nation in rushing with an average of 163 yards a game. He also set an LSU single-season record with almost 2,000 total yards and 22 rushing touchdowns his sophomore season. There have been a couple of questions looming about Fournette's weight, but Miles assures he's right where he needs to be.
Running backs, Leonard Fournette, I was already asked, has he met your weight requirements? Yeah, absolutely. Just in case you wondered, it's his desire to be an elite back. He wants to be able to have speed, strength, and the combination of the two is certainly the advantage for the elite back. And so we felt like that would happen somewhere between 2.25 and 231. So, and he's right there, just where he needs to be.
On the other side of the ball, the Tigers have a new defensive coordinator leading the way. Former defensive coordinator at Wisconsin, Dave Aranda, will replace Kevin Steele, who left to be the DC at Auburn in January. He'll begin his first year coaching a team with a great defensive reputation, but he'll get to institute his style of defense.
Defensively, we feel like really since 2005, our defense has been really significant, and we've had 24 fourth-quarter comebacks, and Dave Aranda really fits the bill, just what we need. He's transitioned from a 4-down to a 3-down personnel group. He has also the opportunity to play 4-down, so we'll mix up personnels, but we'll be playing Dave Aranda football, and that's historically been good.
Aranda will also inherit some all-star players like junior safety Jamal Adams and senior linebacker Kendall Beckwith. Last season, LSU's defense ranked 25th in the nation as the Tigers allowed slightly over 5 yards per play and gave up 38 touchdowns all season. A big part of LSU's success will depend on how well it plays in the SEC. All three of the Tigers SEC teams, including Alabama, Arkansas, and Ole Miss, which they'll see all again in back-to-back weeks on this year's schedule. Some other notable matchups include the regular season finale against Texas A&M on November 24th. For Sports Talk, I'm Carson Mason.
Okay, Carson Nova, thank you very much for that preview of LSU. One note coming out of the LSU camp is that Leonard Fournette had a mild ankle injury in their recent scrimmage. Today, Les Miles told reporters he had a slight ankle sprain. Not him, Fournette did. He's in a walking boot, but they don't think it's anything real serious, not a high ankle sprain or anything like that. The injury occurred at the end of an 8 to 12-yard run. I like LSU. They're my pick to win the West. I think that, of course, with Fournette, you have the explosive weapon that you want to have on offense. And then the quarterback, Brandon Harris, I think, came on last year, got better as the season progressed. I think he will continue to improve. Their defense with Arden Key, the former USC defensive end commitment, emerging as a freshman defensive end from last year. They're very, very good on defense. Again, new coaching staff on defense, or a new defensive coordinator, new ideas there. And I think if I remember correctly, of course, they've got that opener at Lambeau Field against Wisconsin. That should be a lot of fun. But then you look at their SEC schedule, and their home schedule looks really favorable. They get Mississippi State at home, Missouri at home, Ole Miss at home, Alabama at home. They do have to play at Arkansas and at Texas A&M, and they also go to Auburn. So I think it's a favorable home schedule for them from that standpoint in terms of trying to win the SEC West and get to the championship game, Pro.
I think you're right. In fact, I said on this program 2 weeks ago, LSU was laying in the weeds for somebody. First of all, from a personal standpoint, Les Miles is still ticked off about the administration trying to show him the door. And when the fans gave him a tremendous vote in confidence and the president had to back down, I think he has something to prove. And Leonard Fournette, what can you say? Alabama probably did the best job of stopping him, but if I had to label him, Corn, best combination I've seen of maybe a combination of Earl Campbell and Eric Dickerson I've ever seen, because he runs with power. Even though he has somewhat of an upright style, he can still truck defensive backs when he gets in the secondary. And once he gets one step on you, you can just say bye-bye. So they've got the weapon. If they could just have any type of passing game, that would really make him, doubly dangerous coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, he's, last year about 2,000 yards rushing, a bunch of touchdowns, 22 touchdowns last year rushing. Yeah, he is what he is. He's one of the leaders for the Heisman Trophy. And, Harris, as I mentioned, he's a guy that I think has gotten better. He's 6'3". He's a 2-year letter winner. He's going to be a junior, so he's got the experience. Threw for 2,165 yards, 13 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. I think a lot of people would sign off on that kind of season. 19 touchdowns thrown to only 8 interceptions in his career thus far. That's not bad. Plus, he can run. 226 rushing yards last year. That kid his improvement will go a long way towards making them a championship contender in the West, in my opinion. A few notes here on the Gamecocks from their practice ongoing over at the practice fields today, just reading some more of the tweets. Sean Kelly was back at practice today after sitting out yesterday. So he was back punting and holding today. So that's good for him. DJ Smith was getting some snaps at the nickel position. Of course, this is the second of 3 consecutive open practices for USC that Will Muschamp is doing for the fans. So I'm sure they all appreciate that. Coverage of the practice will be on our website tonight, SportsTalkSC.com. K-Mac will have interviews for you from coaches and players that are made available after practice, so check that out. Thanks to everybody here at Benedict College for taking good care of us. Thanks to our pal Dennis for getting us set up and organized and ready to rock and roll. Thanks to Coach White and the players for coming up. Tomorrow night, down I-26, will be at Charleston Southern. Looking forward to visiting with the Buccaneers, who are in the preseason a top team in the FCS rankings. We'll find out from the coaches and players there if they can live up to those standards. Thank you, Pro. Thank you, Jarmark. Thank you, Carson. Thank you, K-Mac. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. That's a wrap, Jack. Oops, where'd my